First, do you need a co-founder? Do you need to raise money? When is it useful to be in stealth mode? Which is more important, tech or marketing? What's the best way to decide whether to do this full-time or do it part-time alongside your job? How can I find out what I don't know? Last question. Welcome to another episode of Walk and Talk Helsinki with me, Tan Lei. My guest is Oki Tåg, who is an experienced and sought-after startup advisor and coach. He's actually my advisor and coach. In this video, we walk around Oki's favorite Helsinki neighborhood and we talk about the key questions that early-stage startup founders need to consider. Oki!
Hello!
How are you, sir?
I'm very good. It's a very beautiful day.
Yeah, isn't it the best day? Can you tell us exactly where are we right now?
Well, we're in Katajanokka, one of my favorite places in Helsinki. Used to live here for quite some time and enjoyed these beautiful sceneries in the summer and the excruciating winds in the winter. Nice is an understatement. Beautiful is the right word. If Helsinki has a skyline, kind of,
That's it.
one of them is this, like...
Alright, now, Oki. Since I've met you, you have been one of the people who in my opinion, have always had a great answer for any startup related questions that I've had.
Thank you, Tan.
So I thought it would be great to get some of your reactions to some core fundamental startup questions on record. I've researched, I've asked people, and these are some of the basic questions. They might be basic, but I'm a big fan of obvious things.
Yeah, me too. They are always the most complex and difficult.
So, list of questions. First, do you need a co-founder to succeed?
Depends completely on the project that you want to do.
Yeah.
If it's something simple that you already have a very vast skill set and network in, it's possible to do it alone. But from an investor's perspective who's looking to invest into a scalable startup, solo founders are most times out of the question.
Boom. That's what I mean. Awesome, straight, no sitting on the fence answers. Okay, next. Well, it follows nicely. Do you need to raise money? Do you have to raise financing, investment?
In that traditional sense, no. But most times you need some resources to do X. So you either need cash flow or just a huge amount of time on your hands. Personally, I think it's about time that this fundraising phenomenon, it is already kind of dwindling down a little bit.
Yes.
Like people are understanding that you don't need 200,000 as a pre-seed investment round to create something that doesn't need
Exactly.
all that. So
great point.
So no, you don't need to fundraise, but for certain projects, yes.
Okay, awesome. Love this. All right, next. This is one question that I know I've asked Oki myself, and I loved his answer, so let's see what he says now. When is it useful to be in stealth mode?
Well, the short
ever.
answer is if you have some IPR that you haven't protected yet, and you need to do that, and you want to do that, then it is good to be in stealth mode, mostly stealth mode until you've secured those IPs. If you don't have anything you want to protect through intellectual property rights, then from my perspective, it's never good to be in a stealth mode.
Love it.
And the reason is that the longer you are in stealth mode, the more you miss the opportunities to actually find what I call followers or community members.
Yep.
And by a follower or community member, I mean a potential client, a potential team member,
Makes perfect sense.
investor, or a potential partner.
And let's be honest, anyone who's talking about stealth mode, you're just afraid of rejection from someone.
Well, I think there's many reasons to be afraid.
Yeah.
It's either rejection, getting a no from a potential partner or funder or customer. It could also be that you feel anxious about maybe somebody will steal the idea, copy it, and then thus you would lose an opportunity.
Yeah.
And it might be kind of any
Most of the
fear.
time that's an irrational fear, because coming from a film and TV, but I grew up as a filmmaker and I went to film school, and all the kids there, all the kids were afraid Spielberg is gonna steal my screenplay.
Well, if you think
I'm
about
not gonna show you my film because you're gonna steal it.
If you think about it, fears were very useful for us 10,000 years ago, when there could have been a lion in the bush. And in that sense, the fear then was most probably at least somewhat rational.
Right.
But if you try to imagine your past fears in your life for the past 1 month and think about how many of them were rational. At least for me, 99% are irrational.
Yes.
So if I keep acting upon my fears,
Oh.
I mean, my behavior will be pretty irrational.
Okay, which is more important? Tech or marketing or something else?
Well, the answer is kind of marketing. If I would have to choose.
Really? Oh, that
between
coming
those
from
two.
Finland, this is very unusual.
Well,
You would choose I'm so surprised.
why I would choose marketing,
Yes, tell me.
especially if you're building something new,
Yeah.
I consider that marketing touches more upon that you understand the problems of your end users and how you're going to solve it. And then you know what tech you want to build.
Wow.
But if you start from the tech perspective, you might not, which happens to not most, but many startups,
Yeah.
that you might not actually have the needed end user understanding, and you don't know
I
that.
fully agree. I
Yeah.
did not think you would say that, but this gives me validation.
Yeah, so if somebody would quote some old wisdoms from the startup world, they might go to Mark Andreessen's quote about that the market is actually the one that pulls a product out of a startup or a team.
What's the best way to decide whether to do this full-time or do it part-time alongside your job?
From a personal perspective, I believe that a human being should almost, first and foremost, in these kind of questions and situations, think about their own well-being. Because if you're not well and if you're out of funds, then you're not very efficient. So from that perspective, I would answer that it's good for everybody to start part-time with their own work on the side and start working on understanding the basics of yourself as an entrepreneur, as a founder. What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? Where are you good at? What kind of people you need in the team? What kind of areas of accountability you're happy to have? Then you want to understand, maybe even the first thing you want to understand is that, does anybody give a rat's ass about your idea or what you're going to do? Like, there's a lot of things that needs to happen, especially if you're building something new, something completely new, that it doesn't kind of help you if you go full time, because you're not going to be able to make money in a long time. So from that perspective, I think part-time is good.
Yeah.
And even if you're not doing something, radically new, even if you're starting a a restaurant with some new products, for example, I think it's way better to start doing it on the side.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
All right, so now the last couple, which I'm gonna get a little more philosophical.
Nice.
How can I find out what I don't know? So how do you know, if you're in the matrix, how do you know you're in the matrix? How do you know what questions you're supposed to be asking?
I think if you want to know what you don't know, that means that you have to go through some kind of uncovering process. So you need to start having open-ended discussions with people who could be your end users or your partners or your investors or just experts in the area. And you want to help them tell the stories and tell those tidbits of knowledge that you have no idea even exists. Which means that you won't narrow down your questions into yes or no things.
Yes.
But you, for example, seek out a person who's done it before, who's built a startup like yours before, and you want to hear their story, for example, and the surprises they went through.
And the key word is open. I love what you said.
Yes, so open-ended questions start with why or how words, for example. In order to understand the unknowns,
exactly,
you need to embrace vulnerability in a sense where you can admit to yourself that I don't know everything, and I even have areas I don't know about.
Exactly.
So if you can take those steps and accept that I don't know everything and it's beneficial for me to learn and listen, then you are stepping into the area of vulnerability, and you allow yourself the option of actually learning those things.
Beautifully put. And I love the fact that everything you're saying is obvious. It qualifies as obvious.
Yeah, it does.
But how many people, how many of us remember to do this or actually actively practice it? Last question. How do you know when to quit? Because the message is always don't quit, never quit. But that can't be true. When do you know when to quit?
I think this never quit message and attitude in a way is horrible.
It's not healthy.
No. It's the same, it goes to the same world of kind of quitting is for losers type of thing, which is like utter stupidity. It's very, very harmful. So when to quit? I would say that you don't have to quit. You can just pause. You can take a break. You can give yourself an hour, a day, a week, a month to kind of build understanding about, do I really want to continue doing this, or is this either too much, or am I really motivated to do this? And time is a precious tool to help you in understanding that. So when to quit? If, let's say, you give yourself first an hour, and after the hour you're like, I don't care at all to get back to that work, then give yourself a day. If after the day you feel like, not interested, give yourself a week, and so on. And if after, let's say, 2 months, you haven't gotten back to this original thing,
you've quit.
Yeah.
So at this point, we're not quitting, we are pausing this video. I'm just gonna press end on the recording, but it's not quitting.
True.
Okay, thank you so much for an awesome walk and talk.
Tan, you're very welcome.
Thank you for watching Walk and Talk Helsinki. Please check out other episodes on the playlist, and please subscribe for future episodes. I'm Tan Lei. See you next time.